What do you think is needed more in general to bring back investors' faith in software sector?
I don't think investors have lost faith in software sector. I mean, most people we speak to understand that Satyam is an isolated incident. It's not the norm for software companies. And generally, if you look at the way IT companies have handled investors, handled their own governance process and transparency, they've been a cut above most other industries in India. So, as we speak after the Satyam episode to our own investors and some of the analysts who cover us, we don't see people painting up the whole sector in a negative light. So that is a good thing. One of the immediate concerns all of us had in the industry is it going to tarnish the image of IT industry as a whole? Fortunately, that's not happened, and I'm also happy with the kind of moves that the government has made, quickly setting right, getting the board in place in Satyam, where we've been able to contain the negative impact of thing like this. So I don't think investors have lost confidence, but definitely as companies become more transparent and they improve their government practices, the confidence will go up even further.
How is the order book position?
The order book position this quarter we reported at about 450 crores. It was down from 500 odd crores in the earlier quarter. It was for two reasons. One is just a translation loss because the pound lost almost 9% during the quarter. The corresponding rupee value of the orders that we have in pounds have taken an impact. The other part was generally there is a slowdown in business, which is why we had to cut our growth estimates from 30-32% to about 10-15%. We do see delays in terms of decisions in some of the new initiatives that are prospects as well as clients, and that has impacted the order book position.
How best the cash is being utilized?
See, the cash that we have is about 160, 170 crores as a company. So it's not some inordinate amount of cash. We have had a track record in terms of using it well for acquisitions as well as for our own internal expansion, and that part will continue. We have a campus in Chennai which we would be investing in. We are looking at other acquisitions in the next 12 months or so. So to that extent, I think the cash that we have is adequate to meet those growth demands.
How your earlier acquisitions have benefited the company?
See, the largest acquisition we made was early in this calendar year, which was the STG acquisition, which is the property casualty insurance software business in the US. I think that's done extremely well. The whole idea was that company was targeting the mid-tier, the tier 3, tier 4 kind of insurance companies within the US. They were fairly successful. We have been able to step up their growth rate. So that part of the business is growing very well within the Mastek fold. We have been able to move them up the value chain. We have been able to make them more profitable, which was our intention when we took on. So all those three objectives have been met, and it has given us a broader footprint within the insurance segment. So Mastek traditionally was very strong in the life pension and annuity business. With the STG acquisition, we are strong in general insurance, or P&C as it is called in the US.
What is the concept and business model of partnership like the recent one you have with Thales?
See, Mastek's strength is actually building large and complex programs. Now, as a company of our size, we were 227 million last year in 2008 June. We will not have independent access to the very large programs like the NHS or London Congestion. So the whole idea of partnership is bring very strong front-end people who understand integration, who can run the systems, who can run the business processes like a Capita or a British Telecom or a Thales. And we provide a key component, which is the actual application. So our strength is in building solutions for these transformation programs. So we do the solution part, and the partner does the front-ending, the program management, the running of the process, and so on. So that's a model which has worked extremely well for us. Almost half our business comes through partnerships today, whether it is with Capita or British Telecom or the recent one with Thales.
How many partnerships you added in last 1 year?
We did one. I mean, Thales was our major addition. Each of these partnerships, we don't just sign a memorandum. It's actually on the back of a deal. So only when we win a deal do we call it a partnership. So Thales was what we added last year.
You said that you have taken a hit on US contracts. Are there any such more in the coming, or that's last?
No, this was an exceptional thing in terms of a specific contract becoming unprofitable, which got over in the last quarter, so I don't think there is any recurrence of that. But you have to understand that Mastek's business, a large part of our business is fixed price, and we do get a premium in pricing because we take the risk. So if let's say you look at Mastek's gross margin, it is at the highest end of Indian industry today. And some component of that is what I call as a risk premium. And a risk premium is like an insurance premium. So when we do 20 fixed price programs, then we pool together all the contingencies or the risk premia that we have with the intention that some projects will do well and some will not, which is part of life. That's not that every project will get uniformly executed. But on an average, we will generate much better margins as well as much better productivity than a pure services company. So that's the business model that we follow.
Compared to industry average exchange losses, how your company is fared?
Like I answered, I think we've been pretty much in line this quarter. I mean, at 11 crore, given our size, I think it's about what the majors have reported as exchange loss. You have to remember that the entire exchange scenario has been very difficult to project in the last 12, I think essentially in the last 12 months. First, we thought the rupee was appreciating, then the rupee started depreciating. People were very happy that a large part of our exposure was in pound sterling, but now the pound sterling has taken a downturn. So in today's economic climate, I think exchange gains or losses are part of any global business, and we just treat it as it's like weather. I mean, if it is bad weather, it's bad weather. But we have to fundamentally do good business and be fundamentally profitable, and these things will iron out and take care of themselves over time.
How much money you are spending on de-risking or ensuring this entire exercise?
Very little. Like what we said, our strategy is to do forward contracts. So we don't do exotics. We do very simple forward contracts which are based on confirmed receivables. So it's not a major cost in terms of de-risking.
There has been nominal increase in Sunday debtors. So how do you look at that?
I think it's just some projects where the payments have got extended. It's nothing to be worried about. And in the first few weeks of January, that situation has already been corrected.
Are there any price cuts for clients you have been doing?
We did talk about it in the last analyst call that there are a couple of customers where we do services work where we have been asked to relook our prices, and we would have price cuts to the extent of about 5 to 10% on a couple of deals.
Is it exceptional or is it a trend?
This is exceptional in the services part. In the solutions business, I don't think we have too much of a pricing pressure.